Good morning, everybody. The Iceman here. Um, Wrestling news. So we got the documentary about Kurt Angle, as everybody knows. Uh, WWE interviewed Dixie Carter and her relationship with Kurt Angle, with his days when he was involved in TNA. Now, recently, we read reports that Kurt Angle has a secret, and I think originally the plan was that if you remember back in the early 2000s, Kurt Angle was infatuated over Stephanie McMahon, and they had a bond. They formed a bond, and they made this storyline, and they grew on this storyline to the point where Triple H got jealous, and it created a feud between Triple H and Kurt Angle, and of course Stephanie was the third wheel. Whereas, a lot of times she was siding with Kurt Angle, but in the long run, the couple always reigned supreme because Stephanie turned on Kurt. Now, the WWE is bringing back this love triangle once again, but now the reports are because of the involvement of Dixie Carter uh, being so close with Kurt Angle that the WWE may have plans to come up with a love interest between Kurt and Dixie. Should be interesting. We'll wait and see. We've seen these kind of situations before, but let's see how well it's written and actually it appears to be when it comes to fruition on air. So we'll have to watch out for that. All right, Alberto, El Patron, Paige, their relationship. You know, maybe I never looked for it, but I never heard either. Back in the days when Alberto Del Rio was with the WWE, we never heard about any kind of issues, any kind of problems with Alberto as far as alcohol or drugs. Yeah, possibly, maybe Alberto, did have an alcohol problem, but it was kept hush hush if there was a problem. But I think his days in the WWE, as far as drug and alcohol goes, was pretty well incident free. And then comes along a young, inspiring lady who is easily manipulated within the WWE because she is so young and she can catch on with other people. And as we all know about Paige, what her antics were recently with the sex tape video and whatnot, and who was involved in it. So whether she was led in the wrong direction, and but you still have a mind of your own, and she made some poor choices. But my point being, is it possible the relationship between Paige and Alberto sort of put a burden on Alberto? Because we're all blaming El Patron right now for his antics, and they got it so Paige is like the victim, the innocent victim. But in all fairness to Alberto, I haven't heard any issues about him until his relationship with Paige. So I think this is interesting. I think one is not good for the other. Paige isn't good for Alberto, and Alberto isn't good for Paige. So, yeah. So that's an interesting thing to think about as well. So, rumors floating about as well. Bayley's heel turn? I don't see it. Bayley's like the female John Cena right now, and I just don't see Bayley going heel. Would it add to her character, and could it open up more doors? Absolutely. We've all said this about John Cena, because once he became a face after his old thugonomic days and the ruthless aggression days, Cena's just been a face ever since. And I guess it worked for him. He was a big fan favorite at one time. A lot of people aren't really interested in Cena anymore, possibly because of his overexposure after so many years. But with Bayley, her popularity is there, but that big emotional moment is gone now. That ever since Bayley defeated Charlotte and became the Raw Women's Champion, and then losing it to Alexa Bliss, her big moment is gone. Um, could she recapture that? Yeah, by all means, if it's done in the proper way. But the WWE does not wait. They don't waste time. So maybe it is possible we'll see Bayley with a heel turn. In my opinion, I don't see it. But would it be good for ratings? Well, because the viewership has dropped so dramatically over several months, the WWE needs to find a way to fine tune some things. So, as we get into GFW Impact Wrestling, their viewership went up again for this past week's episode, which I'm very pleased that it did. It was a good show. Alberto and Lashley teamed up to go up against LAX. It was a good main event. It was planned out well. I think the show rebounded quite nicely from the week before, even though those ratings went up as well after Slammiversary. So we'll see what happens this week. We'll see what else comes about. Um, I'm just sort of interested to see what the outcome's going to be with Alberto El Patron with GFW. Yes, he is suspended. Will he be back, or did he tarnish his image to the point where maybe GFW don't want him coming back? We'll just have to wait and see, but hopefully not. Hopefully he does come back. He was their biggest face and a much needed name, superstar wise. So there you have it on this Sunday. This is the Iceman. We'll see y'all next time. Peace out.